Hello, YouTube community. It's Robert S. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'd like to talk to you about another lesser-known band. That band is a group called Family. And it's this album in particular that I'd like to talk to you about today, Music in a Doll's House. Now, Family was an English band formed in late 1966, and they put out 7 albums, studio albums, between 1968 and 1973. And in those short few years, they had a lot of personnel changes within the band, so each of the albums has a little bit different sound to them. And this particular album, Music in a Doll's House, was their debut, and probably my favorite. I was thinking it's probably their best, but some people actually think their second album is actually better, Family Entertainment. But let's talk about this fantastic debut album. Again, this is an English band. They have a somewhat progressive, experimental sound. There's a bit of rock, folk, jazz, blues, a lot of different instrumentation. Certainly a groundbreaking album. Somewhat along the lines, although not quite at the level of, say, an album like Love's Forever Changes, or The Who's Tommy, which also came out around this time, like 1968. And yet this somehow, I think, has flown under the radar, and it's partly perhaps due to the somewhat unusual instrumentation and the somewhat unusual vocal vibrato of the lead singer, Roger Chapman. Now, the band is made up of, as I mentioned, Roger Chapman, who is the lead singer. He also plays harmonica and tenor sax. We have John Whitney, who is on lead guitar, steel guitar. Jim King, who also provides vocals. He is tenor and soprano sax, harmonica. You've got Rick Gretsch, who plays bass guitar, violin, cello, vocals, and Rob Townsend on the drums and other percussion instruments. And actually, I should mention that Dave Mason actually produced this particular album. And, Dave Mason, you may know as either from his hit single, We Just Disagree from 1977, or you may know him as a co-founder of the group Traffic. And, of course, Traffic had a song called Feelin' All Right, which became a big hit for Joe Cocker when he later did that song. But anyway, I digress. So, the other thing is, I mentioned Rick Gretsch. He's actually, he was also with Blind Faith, another group that you might be familiar with, that had one album. But in any event, so this is the debut album, and it's got a very interesting front cover with each of the band members in a different room of this doll's house, and an equally interesting back cover with of course, the doll. What else would you expect, right? And I'll show you the track listing, which they've interestingly identified as front and back. And of course, between the interesting front and back covers, we've got a record that is equally interesting. And the songs are, in my opinion, amazing. And I feel like again the vocal of Roger Chapman is one that not everyone is going to be excited about. I'll just leave that out. It's actually at times maybe half human, half goat, but but I love it. I love this particular album. This is actually one of my all-time favorites. I like the rare and unusual stuff. So let's talk about the songs a little bit. The album opens with The Chase, and that right from the get-go, you hear this sort of trippy sounds, and it's a trippy experimental ride through psychedelic, I should say, ride through the British, merry old England, basically, and it's along the lines of a fox hunt. If you're hunting for a fox, um, and complete with uh, tally hos. Just a fantastic song, and it really sort of sets the mood for the rest of the album, which is very, very British in its sound. But it's a great way to start the album. Again, it brings that sort of trippy psychedelic sound right from the get go. Then you have Mellowing Gray, and Mellowing Gray is a somewhat more melodic song. It's a beautiful song, complete with violins, mellotron from Dave Mason, and again, Roger Chapman's fascinating, if you will, vocals. And this one has almost a moody blues feel to it in the song. And I think it's easy to see um, you know, where Genesis may have gotten inspiration for some of their early recordings. But having said that, uh, third one, Never Like This. Uh, this is basically a song that it's actually the only song on the album that was not written by the band. This was written by Dave Mason. And while I've heard that Roger Chapman, the lead singer, didn't care for this song, it works. It fits into this nicely, and I think it's a great song. It includes a lyric. Um, it basically says, excuse me. It basically says something about like beginning to wish you'd never met the girl with the faraway look in her eyes. Um, and every time I hear that piece, and again, this is a '68 album. I can't help but think about the Rolling Stones song from 19, was it 77, 78? Um, I don't remember if it's called Girl with Faraway Eyes or just Faraway Eyes. I think it was on the Some Girls album. Um, but it's the same sort of, the girl with the faraway eyes. And again, you got to wonder, did had they been listening to this song and liked that phrasing so much that they used it in the Stones Out song? It's anybody's guess, but I suspect there may have been something there. And then after Never Like This, we have Me, My Friend. And this sort of returns to that trippy psychedelic sound. Um, and with this song, actually, rather than Roger Chapman taking the main lead, Jim King, who does the other vocals, he takes the lead on most of the song. Roger Chapman handles the chorus. So it's sort of an interesting mix of the two vocals and makes for a very enjoyable listen, in my opinion. And then the song bleeds right into the variation on the theme of Hey Mr. Policeman. And then that goes into the song Winter. And I love this song, Winter. And again, you've got some interesting lyrics. It's basically just about winter, about being cold. And, again, Roger Chapman takes lead vocals here. And The lyrics are basically, saying, wintertime, it brings me down, overcoats and scarves thrown round. Cold, dark nights and winter gales, frozen feet and snowy trails. Slowly homeward trudging through wind and rain and hailstorms too. Where's the sun? I wish I knew. And Joe Mayo, I think about you when I hear that part, because I know how much you look forward to summer and want winter gone. And I think I'm there with you. Let's do away with those cold, cold days and snowy nights and so on. But anyway, so that then brings us to old songs, new songs. And again, this is another Roger Chapman song that actually has a more of a sort of an R&B sound to it. I would say that it's somewhat reminiscent of the Zombies, obviously an Oracle type of music, maybe the Yardbirds, Small Faces. So it's a little bit different. And I think Old Songs, New Songs was actually one of the singles that was released from this album. And this album has no hit singles at all, but collectively, absolutely fantastic experimental rock type of music. And then the side one ends with the variation on a theme of The Breeze. And The Breeze is, again, going to be a song that we will hear on side two. And then side two opens with Hey Mr. Policeman. And this is basically a bluesy type of number that, is a good opener for the second side. And then See Through Windows. This again highlights the mellotron, Chapman's vocals, and it's got, again, sort of unique vocal style in this. And then we have variation on the theme of Me, My Friend being one of the songs on side one. Peace of Mind, which is another psychedelic song. Voyage. Voyage is probably the most experimental, adventurous song on this album. And it's got some jazz influences. And again, I'm going to bring up Joe Mayo. If you're familiar with his channel and I think it's Scottish gentleman who visited the record store and talked about how much he disliked the jazz, and I think he called it a random assortment or collection, a random collection of effing notes. Well, that's almost what you hear in this particular song, Voyage. So that guy wouldn't appreciate the song. And then you have The Breeze. And The Breeze, this has a very sort of rhythmic, almost a dream-like quality to it, almost like a Strawberry Fields Forever type of sound. But it also has this sort of rhythmic tick-tock within the song. And again, I'll play it so you'll hear that and see what I mean. And then it ends with 3 times time. 3, you'll see X time. And this one starts out slow, but then it picks up a lot of steam. And it's got, again, a number of different sound elements to it. And then towards the end, it abruptly stops. And a few seconds later, it jumps into the ending of the national anthem. So, quite an interesting finish. Maybe Sgt. Pepper's influenced the family to some extent in that regard. But great way to end the album. Again, music in the doll's house. Let's listen to the songs, and I'll see you on the other side.
What is it now? There's something I see in your face. Feel like a your blue. Loveliness born in velvet shades of dawn. Joy from your eyes, soft summer skies. All things within the world so wear Wellington boots when you tread into water. But what do you do when she's finally caught you? You can't just take off or go underground. You'll just have to find yourself another way round. Been through this before, but never like this. Her mother is smiling across from the sofa. Dad's watching the telly, but taking no notice. Instead he just plays with some black-colored lights. But I wish me, my friend, I could sail to the stars. Have the gift to transport my whole being, my whole thought to a world of dreams. My friend. Winter time, it brings me down. Overcoats and scarves thrown round. Cold dark nights, damp wintry gales. Frozen feet in snowy trails. Slowly homeward trudging through. Wind and rain and hailstorms too. Where's the sun? I wish I knew. masterpiece, man. One minute there. Can I see her one time before I meet jail? I kill for that woman. I kill for that woman. Kill for that woman. Kill for that woman. But that's an hotel. Tears on the pane, windows marbled. Peer through the rain, world looks boggled. Eyes see life's meaning. Take your time, ease my mind. Wait until my thoughts align. See the Sunday has come. That's the way that things are done. There's no stopping, things are throbbing, instead I find peace of being causes beating. Peace of mind. Where do I look for proof? Who do I ask? And what do I see as I see on my voyage of Curiosity quickens, questions arise. Pick out the fools, show me the wise. Who's to know and what's to show? Is amber the step between stop and go? Going through shops and bars and houses, blown through stores and skirts and trousers, following taxis, hanging on buses, meadows, fields, in between rushes. Nobody knows, nobody sees. I get the time goes fast as I reenact the past. The past is gone, but always very near. Memory is good and bad that I
So that's it. Again, the group is called Family. The album is Music in a Doll's House. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. If you have not yet subscribed, please hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be made aware of when I upload new content like this. So stay well, friends, and remember, if the music strikes a chord, let it play.